Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. You're watching a brand new edition of Policy Watch with me, Frank Pereira. In line with the RBI's projection for the first half of FY 2018, the consumer price index inflation dipped below the 2.5% mark to record just 2.18% in May 2017, a five-year low. The numbers have surprised economists and bankers as they are far lower than their projections. Earlier this month, the RBI, in its bi-monthly monetary policy statement, had projected that if the factors contributing to the April inflation are sustained, then the headline inflation would be in the range to 3.2 to 3.5% in the first half of the year and 3.5 to 4.5% in the second half. Inflation has declined over the last 3 years, the fall particularly noticeable over the last 1 year. From 8.33% 3 years ago, it fell to 5.76% in May 2016. After dropping below the 4% mark in October 2016, the downward trajectory continued, and in April it crossed 3% to reach 2.99%. The decline in May has been sharp, with a fall to 2.18%. In the first part of Policy Watch today, we will analyze the implications of a very low inflation. Joining me on the program are Ajay Dua, former Secretary, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and Shubhaboy Bhattacharya, Consulting Editor, The Business Standard. Mr. Dua, I'd like to begin with you. Are you surprised at all by these numbers? Have these numbers taken you by shock?
Not really a shock, I would say, but certainly surprised. Because just the previous month, we had the inflation rate, the WPI, at over 3.5. And from there to slide within a month to 2.17 and 2.18, the inflation, CPI and the WPI, that was something which wasn't expected. But if one looks back, and I would think that things were happening towards that. One, the liquidity in the market had been squeezed out with what we saw happen in November or so. But this particular one probably was much more because of primary good prices, agriculture goods, fuel and mineral prices coming down and getting reflected in our WPI and CPI indices. And finally, the third cause would be our having shifted the base. From 2004-05, we shifted the WPI base to 2011-12. That's where you see the convergence also between WPI and CPI, both at almost the same level. And the sharper decline is partly also because of that.
Sure. Shubhaboy, is there a cost at keeping the inflation so low?
Well, cost, yes, in terms of the fact that it does tend to show that the deceleration is going to be there for some time, because this is coming ahead of the monsoon. And with the monsoon expected to be quite good this year, you would expect the softness in the prices of food to continue. Cost is in terms of whether there would be uptick for the manufacturing sector to come out of to take inflation, to get some bang for the bucks. Now the problem there is that inflation, when it goes above a particular level, you know what's happening right now is that not only is inflation down, but it's also trending down.
Yes.
So it's not sort of coming back, gradually trying to come back to a mean. It's, as your numbers showed, it's sort of diverging more, and the possibility is that it'll tend to be there. But this is largely for food inflation. For manufacturing sector, the core inflation, there the softness is not all that sharp, and there it's still above 4.1%. So manufacturing sector is clearly diverging from the food sector, and that is the major takeaway from the current numbers.
Sure. Mr. Dua, inflation has declined over the last 3 years, and we've seen, or noticed it, or it has noticeably declined over the last 1 year or so. What has contributed to it?
Essentially, the international prices of crude and minerals. We are a net importer of minerals and a large, significant importer of fuel. The people had expected the fuel earlier this year itself, including the Indian oil companies, were expecting the prices to go up for Brent crude, to go up to $60 a barrel or so. It was still hovering around 50. and that has played its part. The coal prices, thermal coal, which we used to be importing a lot, the prices of that was incessantly going up. This year there is no import whatsoever, or it's a trickle. I would say that's helped. There's been softening of prices of copper, zinc, those kind of things also which we are importing into the country. Iron ore prices have remained soft, largely because there is less demand for iron ore from countries like China and Japan. In particular, the demand in China used to drive the iron ore prices in India.
Yes.
That's not happened. And I would say contributory factor, initially a small contribution, but now it looks like it might be a prolonged one. This is the softening of prices of agriculture products. And in that category, much more the softening of prices of vegetables, a little bit in fruits, and also in pulses and cereals, pulses and meat in particular. All these items, the prices have fallen, and that's the one which has continued to put the pressure on prices coming down.
Indeed.
Going forward, if the monsoon is good, as Shubha was just mentioned, we could see this softening of prices to remain.
Okay. And how long will this trend continue to last, Shubha? I mean, maybe 1 quarter, 2 quarters, or more than that?
You know, Indian inflation tends to be very funny. And frankly speaking, even now, it's not sure which way, because almost all the agency houses are saying, yes, the prices would continue to be softer, even going towards March. They expect it not to breach the 4%, definitely stay around 3%. Now, that's a huge decline. The problem is that in India, inflation, especially the food inflation part, is so volatile that often commentators have come to grief in sort of, charting a future course of which way the prices would move. For instance, if you look at international commodity prices, now they have actually hardened, and despite that, as Mr. Dua is pointing out, the prices the domestic prices have declined. That's for the commodity prices. Food prices have declined because, as we say, there's been a large weakness in the market. The prices are not coming. Possibly there's an effect of the demonetization, that the farmers are not getting adequate price because it's a cash economy there. So they are not getting adequate prices.
And the signs are that this might continue.
This could continue. But remember one thing, that essentially, just as it's easy to suck out liquidity from a cash economy, it's also very easy to replenish it into a cash economy. So so essentially what happens is inflation trajectory in India has often led to very peculiar surprises, and often the trough and the crest have not been adequately judged ahead by inflation forecasters, which is one of the reasons why RBI has been very conservative. Because even now it says that, for instance, the GST impact. Now, GST would tend to have a problem on inventory. Lots of people are shifting their inventory down. Would this lead to rise in prices? Because if the festival season, if the inventory stock is low,
yes,
pardon me, then obviously there will be a problem in terms of rising prices. At the same time, we also have the impact coming in from the pay and allowances change of the central government employees.
Yes.
State governments are planning to change, give their employees allowances. The government has just announced interest subvention, which is now going to be across the country. The amount is going to be about at least 2.5 lakh crore. Now, these are good amount of money which will be coming into the economy as consumption multiplier. Where does it lead into? Does it lead to, sort of hardening up of the sudden jerk of the food inflation? The reason why we are talking in so much probability is because inflation trajectory in India often becomes a hostage to immediate factors rather than very long-term factors.
Right. And
that tends to create often unpleasant surprises for policymakers in terms of which way it moves on.
Sure.
But one major thing which we should give the government credit for is that in the last 3 years, their supply side management of food prices has been rather good. Whenever there's been a chance of prices flaring up, they have moved into, raise imports, cut back on building up of shortages. So the cities have been kept safe.
Yes, indeed. Right. Now, talking about the RBI, Mr. Dua, do you believe that, the RBI has cause for concern as far as these numbers are concerned? Can we expect, a rate cut soon?
$1 million question. RBI, I've noticed, particularly in the last few months, ever since the MPC was formed, and I think they've met 3 times already, the conservative as they should be. Most monetary economists tend to be conservative. I think they are getting a little concerned about one parameter, which is monetary stability, which is inflation linked.
Sure.
And that's what their charter in some ways was. The event, even when they kept themselves to the band of 2 to 6%, and now we are closer to 2 rather than 6.
Rather than 6, yeah.
Yet they didn't move this time. They want to see the effects of for another 3 months or another 2 months before they take a call.
Sure.
If this trend continues, as what we've been discussing, I think they would be hard put to deny effecting a reduction in the policy rates.
Indeed. Shubhamai, a quick closing comment from you.
See, RBI could cut rates, but the problem is RBI change of rates will not do what is being asked for, which is recovery in industrial growth, because that is being hemmed in by the factor that the industry is not willing to take credit at whatever the price because of the overhang of NPA.
Right.
So that essentially still remains where it is. It's still locked up. Its solution is taking time because of lots of factors. The RBI easing of money could again push pressure on food prices. And food is a very large part of our consumer price basket, almost 46%.
Right.
So do we anticipate the money moving into sectors where it is not necessary and moving into sectors where not moving into sectors where it is necessary? That is where that is what RBI would like to debate.
All right. I'd like to thank both of you for joining me on the program. And on that note, it's time to take a short break now. On the other side, we'll analyze the impact of farm loan waivers. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, affectionately known as Madiba, was South Africa's first democratically elected president, an international peacemaker and statesman, and a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Through a long career as an activist, Mandela was a crusader for equal rights for South Africa's black majority. Having undergone frequent imprisonment, in 1964, Mandela was sentenced to life in jail, charged with sabotage, treason, and violent conspiracy. He narrowly escaped the gallows. He was released in 1990, having initiated talks with South African President de Klerk towards ending apartheid in the country. Mandela was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1993 for his efforts. In April 1994, the Mandela-led African National Congress won South Africa's first elections by universal suffrage. And Mandela was sworn in as president of the country's first multi-ethnic government. He retired from the presidency in 1999 and from public life in 2004. Nelson Mandela died on December 5, 2013, from a recurring lung infection.
Welcome back. You're watching Policy Watch with me, Frank Pereira. India's agrarian heartland is in deep distress and the farmers are up in arms. In early June, Maharashtra witnessed massive protests by the state's 13.6 million strong farming community, which demanded a loan waiver. Farmers in the western Indian state went on the rampage, vandalizing vehicles and pouring liters of milk onto state highways. Rattled, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis announced farm loan waivers amounting to at least 30,000 crore rupees. In neighbouring Madhya Pradesh, farmer protests for loan waivers have turned deadly. On June 7th, 5 people were shot dead by police at a protest rally. Meanwhile, on April 4th, the Bharatiya Janata Party government in Uttar Pradesh, the country's most populous state, also announced a farm waiver, fulfilling a pre-poll promise it had given to a troubled farm sector. Let us now analyze the impact of farm loan waivers on the economy. Joining me now are N.K. Shukla, Joint Secretary, All India Kisan Sabha, and Yatish Rajawat, Senior Journalist. Thank you for joining me on the program. To both my guests. N.K. Shukla, are farm loans a good or a bad thing? How does it impact the economy?
Farm loan waiver, farmers don't want loan waiver every time, but if they are not getting the proper price, if they are not getting the cheaper inputs, they go in distress and then they are forced to ask for loan waiver. That is the situation today. If you don't waive today and if you don't help farmers, they are not able to sustain the agriculture in future, and that's the problem. And if agriculture go in mess, it will create problem for the food security of the country. That's my point.
Sure. Yatish Rajawat, farm loan waivers are fine, as a temporary measure. But what kind of an impact or what kind of a strain is it going to have on the economy?
So, not only does it have a strain on the economy, but you see, it is one of those solutions that actually does not address the problem. It addresses the symptom of a problem. The problem remains in the system, which is that the produce that the farmer is supposed to sell, he does not get the right price for it. Every time, whether it's a good monsoon or a bad monsoon, his pricing always suffers. So, instead of addressing the pricing issue, what the government actually I will not even say the government, there is a system here which tries to address it through loan waiver, which is like putting a band-aid on a dam that is going to burst. So, it's never a solution.
What is the solution then, Mr. Shukla, as far as the farmer's problem is concerned? I mean, of course, as a temporary measure, it's fine, but you can't keep doling out these farm loan waivers.
The main policy defect is this, that the farmers are not getting the inputs in proper price. Subsidies are being withdrawn and they are not getting the proper price. Swaminathan Commission is not implemented what they had promised. It means you leave them to the this market policy and the market rule. Market dominates, then the traders dominate, then there is no purchasing centers at the 80% of the places, and that's the create problems. And those who are saying that this will create problem for the economy, for last 2 days we are reading in the newspapers that only 12 big capitalists, 1,75,000 crores of the banks are dues with them, and government is going to take this measure and that measure, and ultimately declaring NPA, they will bail them out, and their names are not published. But if farmers having 25,000 loans, the police come and they are paraded in the village, and in that situation they are forced to commit suicide. This is the difference between the dealing with the loan of farmers and loan with the capitalists. That's the situation, bad situation.
Is that truly the situation on the ground, where the farmers' needs are not looked at all, and even these doles that are given out to the farmers are just merely political in nature?
So, you use the word dole. A loan waiver is a dole. Therefore, it creates an intervention in the system, which means that it gives power to a political system or to a bureaucrat to decide whose loan will be waived, how much will it be waived, and that is actually fails the system. What Mr. Shukla was pointing out, that it is just not the input part, it is also the output part. The output pricing, suppose there is a good monsoon, and there was a good monsoon this time. Why are the farmers still on the street? Because moment he comes with his produce, the prices crash by 60-70%. You know, something that was selling for 40 rupees is suddenly now available for 10 rupees. He has to sell it for 10 rupees. So his margin has been crashed by 30 rupees. Now he's again going to go bankrupt. So what the farmers are saying, that this is how agriculture is done world over. The produce comes seasonally in the market, and traders use that opportunity to crash the prices. Why doesn't the government address this pricing as a system? Why does it lead it to the market forces to address the distortion of price? There is always an intervention done by governments in other parts of the world, whether it's in France, Europe, even in America. Whenever the farmer comes with his produce, the price is monitored, managed, and if he does not want to sell at the peak of the season, he is given an alternative to put it into a cold storage.
But unfortunately, we do not have that kind of infrastructure
Precisely.
here. When can we work towards getting this infrastructure, Mr. Shukla? Do we need, you know, a systemic overhaul, a policy overhaul really, so as to ensure that the lives of the farmers are slightly better?
It is the failure of the various government for so many decades. When the liberalization policy was started, at least at that time they should have started building the infrastructure. There is no purchasing center, there is no cold storage, there is no warehouses, and you know the poor and middle farmers and tenants and sharecroppers, they have no power to the holding power. They cannot hold their produce for so many days, so many months. And those things like vegetables and fruits and milk, that cannot be kept. So that they are just being exploited by the market forces. And if there is good production, the farmers are exploited more. Only when there is bad production, 80% is destroyed, then only some farmers who have their production, they get the price. And if the news come in the market that, oh, there is a bumper crop, then there is a price crop. This is what you say, paradox with the farmers who produce more, get less money. If you work more in the factory, you can get bonus. But if you produce more in the field, in the farmers, you are crushed, you are exploited. That's the situation that has to be dealt by the various governments.
Yes,
they have failed the farmers.
That's an unfortunate situation really to be in as far as the farmer is concerned.
Like, for instance, roads and highways is considered as an infrastructure. So the government, both the state government and the central government, allocates fund in the budget. Okay, there is something like 75,000 crore which the road and highway ministry is planning to invest. If you ask the agriculture ministry, what is your investment into building the cold storage infrastructure in this country? You know what is the response you will get? You will get, we are working with the private sector to build this infrastructure. Now, why is it that there is no allocation for such a crucial piece of infrastructure, which for the last 50 years, as Mr. Shukla pointed out, has been ignored? The last government in its second term classified cold storage as infrastructure. That means that it could get bank loans as infrastructure, which is at a lower level. It also, any investment also in it was being subsidized in terms of interest rate. But the crucial issue is that this is infrastructure which the government should be building. It should not be left to the private sector, because there is a cost of this infrastructure. Plus, when the farmer doesn't want to sell at the peak of the season, he should be allowed to use this infrastructure almost as nominal charges. Because if you charge him some external money, what will happen is that the infrastructure owner will buy the crop and then sell it for profit during the low season, which is what is happening, which is how the infrastructure is being used. So, and then there is the logistic component from the farm to the marketplace. This is one piece of infrastructure that government has never focused on. Only in certain commodities like which has been done through cooperatives, where the produce is collected from the farmer and brought to the marketplace. So he does not have the responsibility for bearing that cost. It has to be done for all commodities one by one. Producer companies need to be created in that segment. Logistic companies.
Mr. Shukla, when are things going to change? And do you believe that, the plight of the farmers is going to change anytime soon, or this is going to continue? Because you're a farmer, you've seen all of this happen right in front of you. Various governments come and go, but not the plight of the farmer remains the same. Will it change anytime soon?
Unless the farmers force the government by their agitation, they are not going to change. Actually,
even if the farmers force the government, all that's going to happen is another dole is going to come by the farmers' way, and things are going to be the same because the systemic problems are not being addressed.
Actually, the government is utilizing this situation to hand over the agriculture to corporates. In the last budget, the finance minister of the country proposed a model contract farming law is being sent to the different states. It means that corporates will come, make the agreement with the farmers, and the farmers will produce for the corporates. In that way, our agriculture is going to be handed over to the corporates, and then these e-mandis and all these things, and then this read it with that Land Acquisition Act. It means that our agriculture is going to be handed over to the corporates, and the farmers, they are going to be agriculture workers in their own fields, in their own agriculture. They will be forced to give up agriculture.
Quick closing comment from you, Yatish.
So, fortunately or unfortunately, the manifesto of BJP has identified systemic solutions to this problem, including cold storage, including investment in the agriculture infrastructure, and also creating marketplaces which are nearer to the farmer. If any of the bureaucratic leadership goes back and reads the manifesto of the political party that is heading the government, they will find that the solutions already exist.
Sure.
But why are they not being implementing is the big question.
Indeed. All right. The solutions exist. Implementation really is the problem. The plight of the farmer is deplorable. Remains to be seen how their plight is improved in the near future. Of course, we'll keep tracking all the trends right here on Policy Watch. I'd like to thank both my guests for joining me on the program. That's all the time we have on this edition of Policy Watch. See you again next time.